With the financial support of the Ontario Trillium Foundation, the Diefenbunker, Canada's Cold War Museum, has developed a new innovative program. The Diefenbunker's Conflict Resolution Workshop is designed to teach youth skills in conflict resolution, communication, and leadership in an immersive way. The program uses the museum and its Cold War history as an engagement point to capture the imaginations and minds of students. We use interactive activities, role play, group work, and problem solving to help youth to learn while having fun.
What if you had switched spots with your partner? Technically, you would each be on the other person's side of the line, and you both would have won in this situation. Because we're always thinking that for one person to win, the other person has to lose. But the best way to resolve a conflict, to actually finally resolve it and make sure it doesn't happen again, is to come up with a win-win situation, so a way that both people can win.
The goal of this workshop is to support our community by teaching a new generation of youth the important lessons of the Cold War. The conflict resolution workshops are done in 3 parts, on 3 different days in a 1-month period. On the first day, educators from the museum go into the classroom to introduce youth to the principles of conflict resolution, as developed by our community partner, UCAN Ottawa.
The first principle that we just learned, is called respond, not react. So when you're faced with a conflict, or if you're in a conflict with somebody, we want to try to teach you guys how to respond to it rather than react to it. So responding to a conflict hopefully will help you guys not let the conflict get worse, so stop it from escalating.
So know your stuff is about knowing that you have stuff that's going to affect how you act in a conflict, but that so does everyone else. So even though you think you might know someone really well, they still have all this stuff down here that can really affect how they act in a conflict and can really cause them to sometimes react like we just talked about in a conflict.
So it's really important that we practice our active listening, because it's more than just hearing what somebody's saying. You have to really understand what they're saying too. So this principle is called listen, 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 and we say it 3 times because it's the most important one. Think of your situation, so think of your conflict. It's better to judge that than to judge the person you're in a conflict with. So it's kind of thinking about all the stereotypes and the biases that we know about different people and things like that. It's putting all that stuff aside and not judging them based on those things.
On the second day, classes are invited to the Diefenbunker to run the Canadian government from underground. The activity is based on historical scenarios designed to train government officials during the Cold War. Students are given tasks as ministers and staff to answer questions and make decisions to respond to a nuclear emergency in North America. When the War Cabinet meets, they are given an important decision to make.
We're here today to make a big, difficult decision on behalf of all of Canada during this time of crisis. We can resolve this problem by working together and not forgetting that we're fighting for our country.
I'm the Minister of National Defense.
I am the Governor General.
We are the Ministers of Agriculture.
We are the Ministry of Communications.
We think that yes, we should help America because we would want them to help us in the future, and we are their neighbors, and we would enjoy helping.
We believe that we should help the U.S. because we are close allies, and we don't want to break that relationship.
Will Canada host the United States after the bombings? Who votes yes?
Finally, I would like to thank all of you for leaving your families to support our country at the moment. I would also like to thank all of you for your efforts and time during this crisis.
The decision made in the first part of the scenario changes and shapes the second part, and the emergency escalates. The students are assigned new roles and even tougher decisions to make for the future of Canada.
We are the Ministry of Justice, and as you all know, Canada has been bombed. A Soviet-Russian spy circle has been discovered.
We are aware of the tragedy that has happened in Canada. The transportation is limited because many citizens are trying to cross the border by foot, and it's packed with civilians, so many people can't cross the border in their vehicles.
Now that we have built the Diefenbunker, the Prime Minister and all the other ministers are safe to keep Canada running.
We are very blessed to have come here safely while leaving our friends and family behind. We believe we could change this attack in a situation where everyone compromises. Vote if you think that we should bomb the USSR for bombing us. Okay? And vote if you think we shouldn't bomb the USSR everyone for coming today on behalf of your families. I hope that there will be no more bombs and we will be safe shortly. Thank you.
Along the way, youth learn the skills they need to resolve conflict and learn more about themselves.
Okay, so for this next activity, this is kind of like a personality test, except for we're trying to find out what kind of person you are in a conflict. And in this one, we compare them to 5 different animals.
Tigers are more committed to personal goals than they are committed to relationships with other people. They have highly aggressive behavior. Fox is a compromiser.
They always try to find equal ground.
Yeah.
Equal ground.
Yeah.
How turtles deal with conflict is by like hiding away from it and like avoiding the conflict.
Owls are committed to personal goals and relationships.
They also have a high level of trust and they have full responsibility.
So teddy bears are more the accommodators in a conflict. So they're more willing to agree with people in the conflict rather than disagree, because that way the conflict can be smoothed over and resolved easier.
So what this showed you is what your most dominant conflict style is, the one you use the most often. But nobody is just one of these 5 things. Everybody uses the different styles depending on the situation. You need to recognize, kind of like know your stuff, that you have your way that you want to deal with the conflict, but everybody else has the way that they want to deal with one too. So you have to recognize that there are different ways and that you might need to adapt how you deal with the conflict in order to resolve it.
On the 3rd day, educators from the Diefenbunker return to the classroom to talk to the students about the skills they've learned and how to apply them to conflicts they see in their lives.
The first thing that comes to your head is probably to yell or to react instead of like thinking that I should explain to someone what did he do wrong or something like that.
For the judgment one, it can be hard because like in society today, the first thing people do is judge someone.
I think people should really know their stuff before they go to judge someone or they go to like, you know, say a statement about someone else that probably isn't really true. Like if you got in an argument with someone and you want to talk to them about it, maybe before you go talk to them, just like go through your head and like think like what you're gonna say and see if it's something you're really get mad about.
Always see like the other person's side of the story.
Take a deep breath and like think for a second before you like react or respond.
I think that would be hard because like Lizzie said, first reaction is always to get angry. Like we build up protection shells and then the first thing that always comes to your mind is just to say something mean. So it's definitely I'm gonna have to work at saying nicer things in the few moments of time I have with conflict.
As a community museum, the Diefenbunker is in the position to become a strong partner and ally of schools and community groups to create positive change.
So tell us what roles you guys played today.
We were part of the government and we had to react on if there was a nuclear war.
What did you learn today?
How do we react to stuff and then how do we resolve conflicts and how every one of us is different and nobody is the same.
Great. Anything else?
So we played some cool like little games that helped us learn more about conflict that kind of work towards like what the government does and how they work all of their problems out with Canada.
What have you been learning so far today?
The reason behind why the Diefenbunker was created and what would happen if it was needed.
What are your roles today in the government?
Minister of Agriculture.
And did you learn anything about conflict resolution?
You can always have 2 winners and not just 1 winner and 1 loser.
And what do you think so far about the program, about the Diefenbunker?
It's cool. It's really interesting.
This is a unique learning experience that allows youth to learn for their future from the past.